howling of the wind and the booming of the rocks against the stone shut out all the sound of the battle below. If it was still going on. If all his friends weren't dead already. "I won't look back," Kellen promised himself. "Whatever happens, I won't look back." It was so unfair for the enemy he faced to be throwing rocks at him. Unfair? No, it wasn't so much that it was unfair. It was humiliating. The enemy wasn't even going to bother wasting its demon warriors on stopping him. He wasn't an elven knight, after all. He wasn't any sort of a real threat. He meant so little to the enemy that the enemy thought it was enough to batter him with a few rocks, certain that he was so cowardly, so worthless, that he would turn tail and run. That, as much as all the pain and despair, nearly broke Kellen's spirit. Only his anger saved him. Anger is a weapon, as much as your sword. "I'll show you," he snarled through clenched teeth, and went on. Slowly, agonizingly slowly. Blind, aching, terrified, but now, above all else, furious, he drove onward. Then came the worst part. When the wind and the rocks began hitting him from all sides. Kellen realized that must mean he was near the top of the cairn. Groping blindly, his head still muffled in his tunic, he slid his hand along the wall in front of his face until he touched emptiness. The wind pushed at his fingertips with the force of a river in flood. If he tried to simply walk up to where the obelisk was, the wind would pluck him off and hurl him to the ground. Very well. Then he would crawl. Kellen got down on his hands and knees and crawled up the rest of the stairs, brushing the sand away carefully from each step before him. It caked on his abraded hands, and every time he wiped them clean on his tunic, fresh blood welled up from 1,000 tiny scratches. And the wind still blew, cold enough now to steal all sensation from his flesh. He reached a flat place and crawled out onto it, pushing against the wind. Suddenly, without warning, the wind's silence rang in his ears. "Well, you make a fine sight," a man said from somewhere above him, sounding amused. The voice was elusively familiar. Kellen dragged his tunic down around his neck and stared, blinking, into the watery green light. He was facing himself? Another Kellen stood on the other side of the obelisk, grinning down at him nastily. The point of the obelisk came just to his heart level. This Kellen was sleek and manicured. No one would ever call his smooth brown curls unruly, and dressed in the height of Armathalian finery. From his shining half-boots of tooled and gilded leather to his fur-lined half-cape and the pair of jeweled and embroidered silk gloves tucked negligently through his gleaming gilded belt. The cape and gloves were in House Tavadon colors, of course. No one would ever forget which mage-born city house this young man belonged to, not for an instant. Slowly, Kellen got to his feet, though his cramped and aching muscles protested. Instantly, other Kellen clapped his bare hands over the point of the obelisk, blocking Kellen's access to it. "Think about what you're doing," other Kellen urged him. "Really think about it. Now, before it's too late. You've had a chance to taste freedom, and you've found it's a bitter wine. Only power can make it sweet. But you already know the responsibilities that power brings. Even the powerful aren't really free. The only real freedom we have is of choosing our master. And most people don't even get that."